Let's move on to our final main topic today. And our final main topic today gets sent in to us by Justin Gaygard, who writes, "The Mandalorian is my favorite show on TV right now, and I guess I'm not alone. Did you see the report saying it is now the #1 show in the world? Where are all these people saying Star Wars is dead, LOL?" All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Justin. And at first, when I read that, I thought, well, that's not true, Justin. It's not the #1 show in the world. I mean, it's not even playing everywhere in the world, for heaven's sakes. It's playing in a lot of major places, but it's not playing everywhere in the world. But in the words of Obi-Wan Kenobi, what he just said is true from a certain point of view. As a matter of fact, the outlet Business Insider actually ran a story on this, and this is what they mentioned about this. The Mandalorian quickly became the biggest new show in the U.S. Now, only 3 weeks since its debut, the show is the biggest show in the world. The series is the most in-demand show in the world across all platforms, according to Parrot Analytics. The Mandalorian dethroned Stranger Things as Parrot Analytics' top streaming show in the U.S. last week, breaking its 21-week streak at the top. So apparently, previously, it became the #1 streaming show on demand in the U.S. And I guess up until that point, Stranger Things had been the most watched streaming show in the U.S. Of course, The Crown's come out now, so a lot of stuff going on with there as well. But it goes on and talks actually a little bit more about this whole thing as you go over to the Business Insider as they talk about it. They talk about the analytics, how they measured it, how they figured it all out and all kinds of stuff. And this says Parrot Analytics on Tuesday said The Mandalorian was 31.9 times more in demand than the average series globally during the past week, topping HBO's Game of Thrones and Netflix's The Crown and Stranger Things. So there is... You know what? It's funny, guys, because as I have thought and contemplated about Mandalorian, clearly I love it, and I know it's great, and I know there's a lot of people who've been into it, but I still kind of had it in my head that it was a niche show, that it was only going to be for a certain segment of people, and not a lot of people would be all that on board with it, but there's a group of us who we watch it and we love it. Apparently, this thing is huge, and apparently it is huge everywhere that Disney Plus is streaming. And as we predicted, other reports have been coming out saying it has become one of the most pirated things in the history of piracy as well, on top of all that. And maybe piracy is one of those things that analytics company takes into consideration. So, Rob, I got to ask you this question. And I feel silly because maybe I shouldn't have been surprised. I'm surprised to hear this. But you hear these numbers and you hear the sort of the demand that the show is generating and all that kind of stuff. Does it surprise you at all, or are you saying we shouldn't have been surprised? How do you feel?
I'm not surprised in the least. I mean, what we forget in the movie pundit space, because we listen to everybody's hatred for The Last Jedi, and, you know, people want the Snyder Cut released, and all the vitriol that's spewed forth in our little section of the internet. People love Star Wars. They love all Star Wars. The fact that Baby Yoda has become memes, it's permeated every facet of our pop culture in less than a month. Hell, I got a Baby Yoda t-shirt in the mail yesterday. and this show is gigantic. People love Star Wars. Kids love Star Wars. Adults love Star Wars. Everybody loves Star Wars. And we all want Star Wars to be good. And most people don't nearly cast the critical eye that we do on Star Wars things. And, you know, this is the first live-action Star Wars TV show.
It's true.
We've only had Star Wars as in terms of live action as movies, and there haven't been a lot of them over the last 42 years. So, and these shows are short. You know, they're 30 minutes, just a little bit over 30 minutes. They're fun. It's a classical Western-style show, which means fun for the whole family. It's a 4-quadrant show. Grandparents can watch it with their kids. And I think, you know, people are eating this stuff up. And it doesn't surprise me at all that the world loves The Mandalorian.
Aaron, you know, you're seeing numbers like this. Again, I was caught by surprise with it. Rob wasn't. You're seeing these sorts of reports. What does it say to you?
Well, I feel like today is just the day that I just have to contradict everyone. I'm sorry, Rob. I don't love Star Wars.
Yeah,
and I
you
know
do.
I'm going to... No, actually, I
do.
don't. I tried to watch the first one. I was like, too much sand, too many things flying. I don't even understand what these things were saying. I'm out. And I've never
How
admitted
did
that
Tom
before.
marry you?
I don't know
How did
because
Tom marry you?
I didn't tell him any of this until after we got married. So he was sort of locked in, and I didn't really give him a chance to leave. And he's tried so hard, but I'm just like, too much sand. I'm not into it. And yes, you can send me all the hate mail you want,
much
Twitter world.
sand.
I don't
It
care.
gets everywhere. It's coarse.
Because I will say, as a non-Star Wars junkie, I love The Mandalorian. And that is one of the things that I think is making this show so successful. Not because there's so many people that love Star Wars, but because there's so many people like me as well, who in addition to the Star Wars junkies, can watch the show and actually understand what's going on. And I was like, oh, I love those little dink dink guys. And he's like, they're not the same ones from Spaceballs. I was like, yes, they are. They go dink dink. He goes, they're not saying that in this show. But I can...
Ding, 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 ding.
I can understand what's going on. I love the fact that you have this main character who we've never even seen his face, so he can be any race, any background. He can be whoever he wants. You have these really strong, empowered women, especially like we just saw the widow,
Gina Carano and the widow, and
Gina Carano. Oh my God! And every single woman on the show, I'm like, why didn't I play that part? And he goes, because you're not a UFC fighter. Why didn't I play that part? Because you weren't on Broadway. Why didn't I play that? I was like the waitress. I could have played the waitress. Like, this is a show that I'm excited about, and I really think that we should give a little credit to Game of Thrones for paving the way for a mass audience to be accepting of a show with these crazy wild characters and creatures and weird names that they don't necessarily understand. People outside of the Star Wars universe maybe would not be as excited had we already not been primed for this kind of epic storytelling. And yes, Baby Yoda, I think, is the linchpin that's holding it all together. So that little fucker better stick around. Don't take away my Baby Yoda.
I'm about to launch my Kickstarter for my anti-gravity baby carriage.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be like a drone. You can tether it so it'll just follow you.
Here's what I don't
behind.
understand.
you're about to say the same thing I was going to say. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm probably not.
Okay, go ahead.
No, how the tracking device? What is the thing tracking? Like, can't they just cut it out of him?
Oh, we talked about that actually.
Tom thinks it's a DNA thing.
That's exactly what we came up with as well.
it is.
They
It
encoded
has.
his DNA. But the question I had is with the floating baby carriage. If I was in a world where you could have floating baby carriages, fuck you, kid. I'm riding in that thing myself. I'm having an adult-sized one. Why is he walking everywhere? Why is he walking everywhere?
There's a lot of walking in The Mandalorian.
There's a lot
and
of walking
he's
in The Mandalorian.
controlling the baby carriage, right? Because
It's coded to his wrist and follows
right. Because at
him
first
around,
I was like, "Oh my God, why is he like running after the dink dings?" And he's just assuming that Baby Yoda is going to follow him when that thing is the most wanted little creature in the universe. But then I realized, oh, he's like, phew, and
It looks so great though as he was running after it, and then it cuts to the Baby Yoda, and the thing is. It's like flying around behind him. By
These
the way,
memes are killing me, though.
Anne showed me this video on
Killing me.
YouTube last night. That I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it just killed me. So you know this scene in the most recent episode where they're sitting in the cockpit of his ship, and Baby Yoda keeps hitting the buttons, then looks straight at him and reaches for the button again. Somebody took that scene and they then they edited it in a way that when he would hit the button, it would turn on air supply. And then just Mandalorian stopped, and the music would stop. I'm all out of love. I died. Like,
I haven't seen
it.
the Air Supply one, but I've seen the Andrew WK one where he turns on Andrew WK music. That's the thing. They're putting in all this different music. And my favorite is when he's holding the coffee mug and somebody wrote as the meme, that look that your mom gives of self-righteousness when you're opening all of her Christmas presents that she bought.
I haven't seen that one.
It's real. The coffee mug memes are just look up Yoda coffee mug and read all of them. They're brilliant. That is why I love the internet.
Question here is, guys, are you surprised with the kind of global phenomenon that Mandalorian is becoming? I got to admit I am, and maybe I shouldn't have been. Are you? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.